Well, good evening. I would like to welcome all of you to our Welcome to Kindergarten evening. To all of our families who have their first child entering school, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Langley School District. And to those of you who are already part of our district, we're happy to have you join us as the learning journey for your children continues. In Langley as a school district, we're working to nurture the gifts of all learners on the unceded, ancestral, and traditional territories of the Matsqui, Kwantlen, Katzie, and Semiahmoo First Nations. We count it a privilege to live, work, learn, and play on these lands. This evening, we have three goals. The first is to welcome parents, guardians, caregivers, and kindergarten students to Langley School District. The second is to provide parents with information that will support them and help them understand the transition process. And lastly, to explain district services such as learning support and supports for our English language learners. Our district mission statement is to inspire all learners to reach their full potential and create a positive legacy for the future. To achieve this, the various departments within the school system work together to support students. And this evening is an example of this, as it's a joint presentation between instructional services and learning support services. I'd like to introduce our presenters for this evening. My name is Charlene Redicott, and my role is the District Principal of Early Learning. My colleagues Kim Anderson, the Director of Learning Support, and Beth Kearney, the District Principal of ELL and Modern Languages, will be sharing information from their departments a little later in the presentation. As parents or caretakers, you have a really important role in the kindergarten transition process, and there's some important pieces that we would like to make sure that you are aware of. The first step is registering your child for kindergarten at your catchment school. And registration is completed online, and this opened on January 6th and remains open if you haven't completed that already. As you move through the process, please make sure that you complete all forms that you receive from the school or from the school district. And we'd like to invite you to participate in gifts and gatherings events in your area, as well as programs at Strong Start centers, as these programs are all intended to support your child's transition into school. Your catchment school will be inviting you and your child to a Welcome to Kindergarten event in May or June. And this is a very important step in building a connection with the staff at your school. We also encourage you to make informal visits to the school between now and September to familiarize your child with the environment and their new school. As a district, we value the first people's principles of learning, and as your child enters school, the learning they engage in will support their overall well-being. Learning within their classroom will include many different experiences and will support the development of new relationships. Learning takes patience and time, and adjusting to school is an important step, and we want to provide the patience and time needed for a successful transition. Learning requires exploring one's identity, and through their school experience, your children will develop new skills and discover strengths and gifts as they develop as learners. We believe that all children are strong, capable, and full of potential, and we look forward to supporting your child on their learning journey. Our kindergarten programs are grounded in the early learning framework, and we believe that the relationships that your children will build are at their center, and we look forward to developing these strong relationships with your child and with your family. Our classrooms provide inclusive learning environments, which provide belonging and connection for all learners. Our kindergarten classrooms are child-centered, grounded in the belief that when children are playing, they are learning. As a district, we value inclusive, compassionate classrooms that focus on the whole child. Social development, intellectual development, emotional development, and physical development are all reflected in the kindergarten programming that you will see in our kindergarten classrooms. Kindergarten registration, as I mentioned, opened on January 6th and is completed online. When you register your child, there's a number of documents that you'll be asked to provide: your child's birth certificate, proof of Canadian citizenship or permanent resident status, proof of residence, and then any medical or diagnostic reports or other documents that will support educational planning. When your registration is complete, the school will send a follow-up email that will provide you with additional information. At this point, I'm going to ask Kim Anderson, the Director of Learning Support, to share some information regarding learning support services.
Thank you, Charlene, and good evening, families. In our work, we learn heavily on the Circle of Courage. The Circle of Courage is a framework for the development of children and youth. You all have 4 universal needs for growth: belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. We believe that your child belongs in their classroom with their same-age peers and in their local school. Belonging is about cherishing the presence of each child in our communities and welcoming them wholeheartedly. Mastery means that we believe all children learn and can learn at high levels. They will master skills, they will develop personal goals, they will deepen their gifts. Schools use the word competencies, and we know that your child and all the children we serve are on a journey to grow in their social, emotional, physical, and intellectual competencies. We also know that part of education is finding one's gifts and having these nurtured to the place of mastery. We believe your child is on the journey toward independence, and our work is to help nurture their sense of autonomy, agency, decision-making, and more. You'll find that even in kindergarten, we will work with your child to set their own goals and collaborate around what success is. But independence is not about doing everything on one's own. We are excited to work with your child to help them become generous with their gifts so that they can support their community and receive the gifts of the community in turn. This value of generosity creates an interdependence and strengthens belonging, mastery, and personal independence. As we learn to give of our gifts to others, so we learn to receive from others also. Learning Support Services is an entire team, both at the district and the school level, that supports all students. And while some students may have additional needs, our team is available to support all learners within the Langley school system as needed. Kindergarten entry to graduation transitions include career discoveries, and we really want to be sure that we're supporting and nurturing the strengths of our students for the entirety of the school learning journey. When your child enters kindergarten, they will have an entire school team that is supported from the district level and enhanced at the school level. You'll have a classroom teacher. You'll have specialist teachers that may be around physical education, music, teacher librarians. You'll have education assistants, principals and vice principals, a whole host of staff that will work as a team to support your child's belonging and learning. You may have a resource teacher or be supported by our deaf and hard of hearing team, our teachers who support the visually impaired. You may be working with a special education assistant or our youth care worker. You may be working alongside our Aboriginal support worker, a counselor or a clinician, an occupational therapist or a physical therapist, a speech and language pathologist, or a district inclusion teacher. All of these staff together support the school community, individual students, and classrooms. And as your child's needs arise, grow, and stretch, we too will move that team to support the needs of your child. In the district, our role is to work with school teams and support successful transitions. We want to ensure that we have the information for educational planning, and we recognize that not all pieces fit all students. And so our work is in ensuring that all students have what they need and have what they need to grow strong and feel belonging in the school system and in their classrooms. We recognize and we review child-specific information and ensure that school teams have what they need to support that educational planning. We work with school teams to determine whether students are eligible for a Ministry of Education designation and what supports that may require within the school and within the district level. We work with the school team to support transitions and planning. And in some cases, we actually facilitate the transition meeting with the school team. Our goal is to support individual students and their needs as they enter the school system. If your child has additional needs and will need support in other ways through the school system, we will be reaching out to you and having connections with the school system. Later on in the spring, towards the end of March or April, you will receive an invitation to attend a Learning Support Services Welcome to Kindergarten meeting. And this meeting will dive a little bit deeper and give some more information about successful transitioning for your child with diverse needs. For all students, the transition process is important. We recognize that we have gradual entry in September. We will support skills to work on at home. And coming up in the next few months, you will be receiving more information to support that transition, to help you navigate what the gradual entry will look like. We'll be sending out more information. We'll be sending out short videos and clips and really providing information to families that will help you with the transition process. We recognize that this is a very daunting time for you and it's exciting, but also can be a little bit nerve-wracking. And we want you to know that we have you and your children as you enter this kindergarten system and the rest of the Langley School District. In the coming weeks and months, we'd like you to watch for information about speech and language, hearing screening, and vision screening that can help support that successful transition. Many of our students receive outside services and are doing so prior to entry to kindergarten. This may look like support in preschool, occupational therapy or physical therapy, speech and language support. And while you're receiving that support outside of kindergarten, we want you to know that it may look different in kindergarten. We recognize that this looks different and want you to understand that while you are seeking individual supports and reaching out to individual people in your community for those supports for your students, at the school level and the district level, we have an entire team that work together in the planning and support of your child. And so supports, while available, and we will continue to support your child in any way possible, will look different than they do when you're receiving them prior to kindergarten. And that's why the transition process and those meetings with your school team and the meetings with us at the district level to support that work are going to be very critical to successful transitions. We have a school-based team and a district-based team that are here to provide the necessary supports for you as you enter the kindergarten classroom and enter the kindergarten program. And we look forward to supporting you through your entire learning journey. At this time, I'd like to pass the torch to Beth Kearney, who's going to share some information about supports for our English language learners and learners of modern languages.
Thank you, Kim. Well, we're welcoming your child to kindergarten this year. I'm recognizant that we're also welcoming some of our families to Canada and to Canadian schools. New permanent resident and refugee claimants are asked to come to the school board office to register. This is a great chance for you to meet our settlement workers in schools, to get support with your forms, and to answer some questions in a non-pressured environment where you can take all the time you need to be able to explore what this transition to Canadian schools will look like. We also want to continue to support permanent residents and refugee claimants with children who are already in schools. Our Swiss workers are available during the kindergarten registration period, and you can email them, or you can drop by or call based on the schedule. You can see on this schedule that many of our Swiss workers have locations identified and emails, along with dates when you can catch them for registration support. Many of our students come to kindergarten and are learning English language also. Here in British Columbia, students receive up to 5 funded years of English language learning. As a district, we make some very targeted and decisive directions around those 5 targeted years so that your child can best access what they need to be successful learning English and in Canadian schools. To that end, we do not offer English language learning in kindergarten with our specialist teachers. To be frank, the kindergarten classroom is already a very rich oral language environment. All of the kindergarten students are at the beginning stages of reading and writing. Since we only have 5 years, we like to preserve those funded years of ELL service when there is greater academic language and language demands. Typically in March of the kindergarten year, our ELL teachers will screen all of our kindergarten students who speak another language in their home. At that time, they will determine what next steps for service are required so that your child can flourish not just in school, but in their English language learning journey. ELL teachers support kindergarten teachers through professional learning, consultation, and lots of those collegial talks to share materials, resources, storybooks, and other ideas. And now I'm going to pass it back to Charlene Redekop.
Thank you, Beth. After school has started, your child's teacher will be your primary contact with the school. Questions and concerns that you have regarding classroom activities or what is happening in your child's class should be brought directly to the classroom teacher. During the day, if you have urgent questions, those can be brought to the admin assistant in the office, as your child's teacher will be engaged with teaching during the school day. The school principal will also be available to address more serious matters or broader questions that you may have about the school's activities or programming. The first few weeks of kindergarten will involve a gradual entry into school, and this schedule will be communicated to you from the school directly. Gradual entry allows children to adjust to the many new routines, the new adults, and the new friends. It can be a very long day for children as they adjust, and as you can imagine, they will often be tired at the end of the day. They will have a snack time at school, and it is helpful if they bring healthy foods that they like and that they're packed in containers that they can open. They will have outside time at recess and lunch on most days, and they'll have opportunities to use the school's library, the gym, and enjoy music with their classmates. There are many, many new things to learn, and the gradual entry process allows children to approach these transitions in a bite-sized way that will make it manageable for the little ones. There's some upcoming events that we want you to be aware of. All of our elementary schools will be inviting new kindergarten students to welcome to kindergarten events that will be held at the local schools. Please also watch for gifts and gatherings and pop-up play events. We'll also be hosting a Child Day at RE Mountain Secondary in May. All of these events are intended to build touch points and connections between families and the school and to support the transition into kindergarten. We hope that you'll take advantage of some of these opportunities as they come. As we wrap up, I would just like to remind you of your role as parents. Please ensure that you have completed that online registration. Make sure that you complete all forms that you receive from the school and the school district. And again, we do invite you to attend as many of the transition events as you are able to. Your catchment school will be inviting you to a Welcome to Kindergarten event, and this is a really important step in building a connection with the staff at the school. We also encourage you to make informal visits to the school as September approaches to familiarize your child with the environment and the playground, and just ensure that they're feeling comfortable as they start kindergarten. On behalf of Langley School District, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening. We look forward to supporting and working alongside your child and your family in Langley, where all of our kids are all of our kids. If you have any questions that we haven't answered this evening, please feel free to reach out to us through email. Please direct questions regarding learning support to Kim Anderson, questions regarding ELL or Swiss support to Beth Kearney, and any general kindergarten questions to myself, Charlene Redekop. Thank you again for joining us this evening, and we look forward to supporting your child as they enter kindergarten in September.